Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this lattice edged card. Okay, it's done by some simple cutting and folding. It's very easy. I made my first one quite a few years ago now, and I really haven't visited it again. I'm also going to show you how to do dry embossing and sponging it. I'm using the Country Floral embossing folder, dynamic embossing folder, which is available as a gift during celebration, which ends on 31st of March. So if you like what you see and you want to get one, do get your order in quickly. Although you can use any embossing folder for this, but this one is exceptionally nice. And I showed a card like this on my blog the other day, and somebody said, could I show how it's done? So I'm going to incorporate that with the lattice today, so it's 2 in 1. So this one's lovely lipstick, and this one is in Gorgeous Grape, and I've put flowers on the inside as well. That one was because when I put the flowers on, I hadn't thought about the glue going through the other side, so I put those on, and then once I'd done it, I thought that looks rather nice, so I decided to do it on that one as well. And for the card for the video, I am going to be using Blackberry Bliss. So I'm going to tell you the card pieces that you're going to need. So first of all, the card base is Whisper White, and it measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, which is 21 by 14.5 centimeters, scored and folded in half. For the inside, you need a piece of Blackberry Bliss, which measures 4 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 10.2 by 14.2 centimeters. And then also for the inside, you need a piece of Whisper White, that's 3 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 7.6 by 13.9 centimeters. For the front of the card, you need Blackberry Bliss, which measures 3 1/8 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 7.9 by 14.2 centimeters. Then you need a piece of Blackberry Bliss. God, that looks furry. Blackberry Bliss and Whisper White, which should both measure about 2 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches, which is 6.5 by 9 centimeters. Then you need a scrap of white for the sentiment and a scrap of Blackberry Bliss for the flowers. Now I'm going to do the stamping and the die cutting and the embossing first. Because it's a dynamic embossing folder, I'm actually going to spray my cardstock, and if I do this first, it can be drying while I'm doing the other bits and pieces. It doesn't get saturated, but I don't want to do sponging with ink while it's still on the damp side, so that's what I'm going to do first. The stamp set I'm using is called Golden Afternoon, and I'm using this stamp here. Hope your day is as wonderful as you. So, Blackberry Bliss ink. I've forgotten how to open it. Oh no, it's these new ones, isn't it? Open it like a compact. I really must change all my ink pads to the new ones, because I do find this a bit confusing. Right, Blackberry Bliss, and the stamp is here. There we go. I'll pop that up there out of the way. Now, I'm not going to need this ink again, so might as well pop that up there. So I'll get the big shot up. First of all, let me show you the dies. But this one's the embossing folder. Okay, that's the picture, what it's like. I'll show you some cards that I've made at the end using this. Right, so this one here is for the sentiment, and that's from Rectangle Stitched Framelits, and it's the one that I calls on its own because it doesn't have any layers like these two. And for the white, which is the layer, I'm using number 4 of the Stitched Shape Framelits. and for the embossed one I'm using the Layering Ovals number 6. I will put all this information in the box below the video for you. Right, if you're going to do anything with your cardstock where you are putting it through your Big Shot twice, and one of those occasions is for embossing, do the other bits first. Like I'm cutting and embossing, so I'm going to do the cutting first. If you emboss it and then cut, you're going to lose some of the depth that you've got on your embossing. Right, I have to say this is take 2. The first one I did, it wasn't that I made a mistake, it's just that the way I was explaining things I didn't understand myself, so there's no way you would have understood what I was saying. So I thought, no, come on, start this one again. Right, so the sentiment. As you know, if your die jumps when you're arranging it, move your paper stock, your cardstock, whatever, to follow the die. Don't try and make the die go where it doesn't want to go. It won't. Okay, so that's that. Right, so my embossing. What I need to do is I need to change my magnetic plate for my platform. That's the platform on its own. It doesn't need the other thin one, the thin die adapter on it. So what I'm going to do with my cardstock is I am going to spray this with water, and you do get a much better impression if you spray it, but I am going to spray it from the back. Now I can't show you this on the screen, but you'll probably hear the bottle go tss, tss, as I spray. There we go. That's definitely overkill, far more than it needs, but it will be fine. So the side that doesn't have the water is going to be the right side, and you can line this up wherever you want it to go. I like to have that rose as my main piece there, and I don't have to worry about whether it's straight or not. So that's one platform, embossing folder because it's a dynamic, one cutting mat, and then crank it through. Okay, isn't that just absolutely stunning? Beautiful. So I'll leave it there so it can be drying off. I'll pop this away. Oops, sorry about that, that's a bit of a clang. That's one mat. What do I do with the other one? Right, so that's all finished with. I don't think I'll need those for the time being. I'm going to move on to what we need to do to the card to get the lattice edges. You need to get yourself a template. There are videos on YouTube which show you how to make these, or you can do what I do and download a freebie. This was a freebie that I found on Brandy's cards. Brandy Cox is one of the top demos in the US, and she's put one on her blog, so I will put the link in the box below. But once you've downloaded it, what I suggest you do is you take a photocopy of it, so you've always got a spare one. So once you've used, I mean this should be a bigger sheet because I think there's another 2 or 3 down here, but I forgot to do what I'm telling you to do. But I've photocopied this now, so at least I can photocopy it again without having to go back to download another one. But it is free, so Brandy doesn't mind. You can go back and download it as many times as you like. So what I'm going to do with this is I cut my first piece off, and let's use bigger scissors. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut down that black line, because that is going to go along the spine of our card. Okay. Now I'm also going to cut down there, because then that is ready for the next one. If you're planning to make another one, that is. Okay. Now I don't cut these end bits off, and the reason is I like to be able to fold them both over, and I clip them in place with paper clips. So this has actually been made with the American card size in mind, but it still fits ours. But what I do is I try and get the top of the first arrow about 3/8 of an inch down. Okay, so that I think that's probably about 3/8 of an inch. Let me just double check that. Yeah, nearly 3/8 of an inch. And then what I do is I fold that over, and then once it's over, put a paper clip to hold it. Now this is one reason for having all that extra bit, because you can put your paper clip on and it's not going to scratch your card, and it's well out of the way of where you're going to be cutting. And then the other end, fold that over, so you've got your black line going along the edge of your card, and then fold that over, and then put another paper clip on there. Okay. So if you're not confident about just going and cutting this and making sure that you stop at the end of each of these lines, what you could do is, it's almost like using your scissors like a punch. That is, you line it up and then you close it to get a grip, and then you punch it, only in this case you cut it. So lining it up is, especially if you're using Stampin' Up paper snips, because they cut right up to the end of the blade. So what you can do is, if you don't worry about what that one's doing, leave it wide open, and then lay your blade on the cut line so your point comes right to the end of that line. When you're happy, then bring up the blade at the back. Okay, so that's like getting the bite in your punch, and then when you're happy, go for it. Okay, and because if you've got the paper snips, you know that you haven't gone too far, and you can do it for the longer one as well. You'll find that you've got a short, long, short, long, short, long, all the way down. Okay. It is a bit tough doing this, in as much as you do have 2 layers of cardstock that you're cutting through, and 1 sheet of photocopy paper. But it's not so difficult that it's impossible. as you know, go very silent when I'm concentrating. And then the last one. Okay, so you can take this off. I never try reusing these, which is why I suggest you photocopy the download that you get. So what you should finish up with is lots of cut arrows there. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to fold back every alternate one, starting with the one at the top, fold it down, and then the next one at the top, or you could start from the bottom. It doesn't really matter. In fact, I think I will start from the bottom. Okay, so if you take it and just fold it over, what you need to do is each of these arrows has got a straight line on it, which is the fold of the card. So as you fold it over, make sure that that line lines up with the straight line there. Then you know you're not going wonky. Now with this end one, this is the only one you're going to do this with. If you use your bone folder, give yourself a good crease, and then I find if I turn it, push it back inside, turn it this way and give that a crease. Now you need to cut that off. You're going to use it again, so don't cut it in any peculiar sort of way. Just cut across the bottom there in a straight line. And you will find, okay, so I'm going to keep that, I'm going to be using that in a minute. You will find that it's not particularly attractive on those two bits there because you're cutting on a fold. So if you take your bone folder and just push it up and flatten it, you won't get rid of the mark. You still see the fold, but at least it's all nice and smooth there. You haven't got that awful ridge. Okay, so let's start from, no, we are going to start from this one, and the reason is it's a lot easier to explain about folding. Let me just talk to myself while I'm doing this. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so the first one, you've got this point, you want to count not the first arrow underneath, not the second one, but the third one. You want that point to go to the tip of the V. Now let me use my paper piercer. Oh, I can see it. Right, okay. So this is number 1. You got 1 and 2 and 3, and that bit there, you want your arrow to fold up to that bit. Let me come up close to you. Right, so you got 1, 2, 3, and that where the point is, the top of that V, that point there has got to come over and meet it. You don't want it to go past. Okay. So line it up first, and once you're happy, you see I haven't folded that yet. Once you're happy, then you can fold it. Now what happens is, if your cuts aren't quite correct, if it comes further down, it will be visible from underneath, and that you don't want. Okay, so move that one out of the way, and then you go for the miss one and then get the next one. And again, that point, you want to bring it down, not that arrow, that's 1, not that, that's number 2, this is number 3, and you want it at that V, the top of that V, okay, or the top of that arrow if you like, whichever, but that has got to meet up. So just gently bring that over and it's got to go with that. If your cutting has been absolutely perfect, you'll find that where you're folding it is at the end of your cuts. Personally, I don't find my cuts are that good. Right, so you miss one and you pick up the next one and you count 3. 1, 2, 3, and you want the tip of that one or the top of the V, the underneath V. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, that one there. God, that one's been cut a bit short. Alright, never mind, I'm not going to get in a panic about that. Okay, so lift that one up. Now miss the next one and then go for the next big one. Basically, these are all the arrows that have been cut with the longer lines. So now we've got 1, 2, 3. So this point has got to come down to the top of that V. Now the next one doesn't matter. So just fold that over where your creases are. Just make sure that it lines up with that line down there. Okay, so that's all that. Now what you need to do is each of these need to be tucked under the arrow down there. So if I start from this end, so this one has got to tuck under there. This one gets tucked under there. This one, and this one. Okay, so that's your lattice. So what we need to do now, fold your card and give each of those a really good crease on the back and on those there. Now, as you can see, we've got a gap there. Now, where I said to you, make your point come down to the third arrow where the V is. If you had allowed that to go further past that, it would be visible underneath here. Okay, and that would spoil the look of what you're trying to achieve. But that's that bit. Now, this one, it has got to be in, oh no, that's back to front, isn't it? Make sure you've got it folding that way. But it's got to be tucked into there, and it has got to be done so that the point finishes up under there. Okay, where we've been doing all of these, but maybe it's easier if I show at the top, all these points, I've said the top of the V. Okay, so that's got to be that one. So it needs to be adhered like that. Now on the videos that I've been seeing of for Americans, that has been finishing up near the top there, which is what made me put the flowers on, because it sort of disguises that. And I think it wasn't a mistake really, but I just think it worked out well. So just put a little bit of Tombow top and bottom, on both sides rather, not top and bottom. And then put this on so that that point comes to that V. And just make that the same gap there as you had there. And when you're happy that Tombow has done enough to hold that there, then you can tuck it underneath. No, I'm going to leave that a bit longer for Tombow to get a grip. Okay, so next we are going to start adhering the bits inside. So that's this bit first. Now, as you know, I like to use my tape, but I haven't put any tape down there. If I had done and I'd put that over, then there'd be sticky showing through all of these holes. So what I do is I use my Tombow and I put glue down here. I don't come right to the edge, although there will be a slight gap there, but I don't want to let my glue come over. Okay, so I'm coming out sideways and then down. And then a little bit in. Really and truly, I suppose I'm not going any further than that, really, with that. Let me see if I can show you dark colour there. Okay, that, I'm not coming any further in from there. Right, so once I've done that, I'm going to line this up where I want it to go. Make sure that's nice and straight. Oops, that moved. There we go. Okay, so that's straight. Now I can pull off my tape backing. Oops. Okay, so that's adhered in there nicely. Now I'm going to put my white piece in here, which I've got 4 pieces of adhesive. There we go. So that should allow just a little gap all around. There we go. And then on the front of the card, oh, let me just tuck that bit in now. There we go. So no glue showing through there at all. So I'm going to put this one on here. I think I'll turn this one upside down. Just easier when I'm doing videos. There we go. Right, got those. Right, the flowers. Let's do the flowers next. Now you need 7 on the inside, 7 on the outside. And these are the punches I've used. I've used a different flower for each card. This one, I'm using this one here. These are the Bitty Bloom punch sets. That's the one I used for the lovely lipstick. That's the one I used for, no, that was for Gorgeous Grape. This is lovely lipstick. Okay, and you also get that one in the pack. It's a round little one, or individual petal type things. Right, so what I've done is I've sponged all the edges, and hopefully I've saved one of everything to show you. And you will find that once you have used your dauber and got white ink on it, it stays moist for a very long time. So then for that, what I'm going to do is going to be one of these ones, okay? It's going to be one of the ones with a pearl in there. And what I'm going to do, I've got my pearl, but before I put it in there, no I'm not, rewind. What I do first is I use my scorer and I just give that a push in the centre to give it a little bit of dimension, okay? And then once I've done that, open it up again, and then I put a little bit of Tombow in there, because what I found is these pearls are such a size, they're quite big for this flower, and as I'm squeezing the petals up, I mean, it's okay now, these have all been, got Tombow on. As I was doing that, just with the little glue dot that it comes with, they were shifting. So I now do those with Tombow. And these ones, I use my white gel pen, and I use Jelly Roll, which is spelt G-E-L-L-Y, roll, and it's got number 8 after it, 08. And these, I think, are brilliant. Let me just check it on the back, make sure it's working. Yep. So what I do is I do 1 dot in the centre and then 6 around it. Like that. Leave it to dry, and once it's dry I use my scoring tool again and give it a push. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to put these in, adhere these, and it's 7 front, 7 inside. And just put a little bit of Tombow on there first. Obviously you need enough to hold it in place, but you don't want so much that it's oozing everywhere. There we go. So my first one I put to go on the edge of that one where we stuck that. We cut it from here and we adhered it up there. It won't cover all of it, but it covers enough of it that it really isn't an issue. And then these, I bring them down just underneath. The first one I found that I had stuck it in such a place where the glue was coming through on the other side. Which was not good. I think that could have done with coming over a bit, but never mind. I'm not going to try and move it now. That must have been the one I've just done, because the petals aren't folding up very well. Okay, so that's that. Now that one didn't do, did I? I'll just give that a push. I mean, these will get flattened obviously with the card closed, but I think that once something has been given dimension, it doesn't really totally go. So again, let's have some... Oh, Tombow, don't do that to me. Well, that wasn't nice, was it? Oh, it's fallen sunny side down. Right, let's mop ourselves up. Right, where's my tweezers? Put glue where I didn't want it really. Let's try that again. Now where did I put these? Let me just double check. That was as that was coming down. Right, okay. So this is almost opposite the flowers on the other side, which means they may be visible. It was certainly visible on the first card I did, the lovely lipstick, but then that was like the daisy type flower with all the individual petals. And even though you could see them, it didn't spoil them at all. Okay, so obviously it's a bit more difficult to push these down because you've got a big pearl the other side. I really think that, you know, this finishes off nicely. The little bits of cut ends that you've got where you've made the lattice. I'm just going to put that so it's in a line with this same sort of gap. And then afterwards I will go through, once I'm happy that that's all dry, just to pinch up all the leaves again, the petals rather. Okay, right. So next I am going to show you what I do with the embossing. Right, oh, you've got the lid on that. Right. Now, I need my dauber, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to need any more ink on there. Now, the big secret about doing this successfully is don't go heavy, just do it very gently, and don't use masses of ink. I want to show you this one before I do it. Okay, so that was my first card, or at least this style it was. But the first bit of embossing that I did, the sponging that I did for that, was that. And to me, that was just too much because I've got the white all over the, underneath the dots, if you like. Whereas that one, I've got it on the dots, but not on the bit underneath, which I think looks a lot nicer. But I thought I'd save this for you to show you because you may prefer the one that's got the all over. So if you prefer all over, you've got to push quite hard on it. But if you want it just for the raised bits, you've got to go gently. And I definitely prefer the gentle. That's the gorgeous grape one. Okay, I think that one looks a lot nicer than being really solid. So all you need to do is get myself a piece of scrap paper, and that is just gently go over. Okay, so I'm concentrating on the rose at the moment. Okay, so that's made the rose really nice and definite. Now I'm going to go and do all the other bits. And as you can see, I haven't inked my dauber up. This is all from last time. You can see that I am getting some of the white on the bit by the dots as well as the dots, but it's not as heavy as that pink one that I showed you. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now you see where it's touched the bit underneath the dots, but play with it, see what you think. It's a brilliant technique to do, really lovely. So I'm going to adhere this onto the front of my card, and I'm going to put quite a lot of glue on this. Okay, so that should make sure that it adheres down all the way around. I don't want bits lifting up. Now when you put it onto the white one, you'll find that you will have a gap all the way round. You've just got to try and make it so that your gap between your Blackberry Bliss and the stitching is about the same all round. There we go, that looks about right to me. If you wanted to do something more to this piece, there are two things that I think might look nice. One of them is to have some kind of a stamp and do tone on tone, and the other one is to dry emboss that using the Subtles embossing folder, because that is really, I was going to say discreet, that's not the word that I want, is it? And I don't want to use the word subtle, but it's gentle enough that I think it would look nice. The only reason I haven't done it is because it's quite a long video anyway. Right, so that's those pieces. Right. To me, the right way up for the rose is to have the leaves up there and those little flowers. I'm probably totally wrong, but that's just the way my eyes see it. So I'm going to pop that in there. As long as it's straight, I'm happy. And about centre. Okay, that looks about right. And for my sentiment, I'm going to put some dimensionals on that as well. And just give it a baby one to give the centre a little bit of support. And I must remember to show you those cards, the other cards that I've made with this embossing folder. As I say, you could use any embossing folders for this technique. In fact, I might actually try that and share them on my blog, just to see what kind of effect they do give. So there we go, that's that. You don't need that. Push all that out of the way. I think that's everything done now, isn't it? I will, as I say, go around and squeeze these up a bit. But I'll do that off video. You don't need to see me do that. Okay, so that's Blackberry Bliss. Oh no, my pearls. I need some pearls. I did the little flowers on here. Put one in the centre of each of them. Come on. Oh, come on. I think that's got some glue on the outside of it. I'll check that out later. And I think that was the only 3 on there, wasn't it? I just about missed them all the way around. Oh, look, this one. Yay! Yes, I've done this a bit lower than this one because that's got 5 on it. Look, I managed to get those 2 in, which I can't on there. Okay, and then I did 3 up here. Okay, so where's my other ones? And in case you're wondering why have I got the continuous strips on mine, these are some of the old ones that retired when they repackaged, and I bought a few of them. As I said in my last video, there will be a retiring list coming out quite soon, and do check it. If there's anything on there that you really like, stock up with it. And also keep an eye out for things that might be retiring, but purely and simply because it's being repackaged, which is what happened about 2 years ago with the pearls and the rhinestones. So there we go, there's today's card. I hope you like it, and I really hope you give it a try. It is great. And the other cards that I've made using this, now this is a card that I shared, and a lady said she'd like to see this on a video. I'll bring it up a bit closer so that you can see. Okay, and these I fussy cut out of another piece that I did, and that's fussy cut as well. And this one I used some lovely lipstick foil, and this foil is another gift during celebration. Oh, that was my spare bit. I cut out several of these. I wondered what happened to that. And inside this one, another bit of fussy cutting. To me, you know, this embossing folder is just absolutely versatile. Just absolutely so many things you can do it with. Now this one, I've used it just as a plain background. I haven't done anything with it apart from using it as a background. And then this one is the one I shared on my blog today, where I used a dauber with Flirty Flamingo for the pink and Granny Apple Green for the leaves. If you want to see any more information about any of these are all on my blog since last, I think Sunday was the first day that I did that one, but all week I've been doing these. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will be putting the measurements and the products that I've used, and also the link for the template that you need in the box below the video, but you have to be watching the video on YouTube to have access to that box. There'll also be a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop if you'd like to purchase anything here. I would really enjoy your business. And if you've enjoyed this video and would like to be notified each time I upload a new one, which is normally twice a week, please click on the subscribe button that is down there in the corner somewhere, and then click on the bell, which is saying that you want the notifications as well. Finally, I have a Facebook group for crafters to share their projects with everybody, and I'd love to see you over there. You know, if you do this and you put your own spin on it, you do something different with it, I'd love to see it. Really, really would. And the Facebook group is called Happy Crafting. I'll put a link to that in the box below as well. I'd love to see you over there. So many thanks for joining me today. Oh, no, sorry. If you do order something from my online shop during March 2019, please quote that number towards the end when they ask you for a hostess code, and I'll be able to send you free product after the end of the month if you do that. Okay, so many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.